The blobfish. This pink gelatinous blob with a permanent frown became famous as the world's ugliest animal, and honestly, it earned that title. The blobfish has no muscles, no teeth, and barely any bones, just loose, flabby skin filled with jelly-like flesh. At its natural depth of 2,000 to 4,000 feet, water pressure gives it some semblance of shape, but bring it to the surface and it literally melts under its own weight, collapsing into what can only be described as disappointed pudding. Here's the thing about the blobfish: being lazy is its actual survival strategy. It doesn't swim, it doesn't hunt, it just bobs along the seafloor waiting for food to drift into its mouth. It can't chase prey because it has no muscles to chase with. It can't flee danger because, again, no muscles. Its entire defense mechanism is being so unappetizing that predators take one look and think, hard pass. Even humans find them inedible. They're basically gelatinous mush that tastes like disappointment. If the blobfish is evolution's lazy Sunday project, the ocean sunfish is evolution's complete system failure. This 5,000-pound behemoth is the heaviest bony fish on Earth, and it uses that distinction to do absolutely nothing productive. The sunfish looks like someone tried to draw a fish from memory and gave up halfway through. It's basically an enormous floating head with fins, missing a proper tail entirely. The German nickname for this fish translates to swimming head, which is generous because it barely swims at all. Its top speed is a blistering 2 miles per hour, and most of the time it just drifts sideways at the surface looking dead. Boats regularly crash into sunfish because they're too slow and stupid to get out of the way. These collisions can actually damage ship hulls. Imagine being sunk by a fish that's essentially a maritime speed bump. The sunfish holds the record for most eggs produced by any vertebrate, 300 million at once. That sounds impressive, until you realize this is nature's version of throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. Most of those eggs get eaten immediately, because baby sunfish are just as helpless as their parents. It's the ultimate quantity over quality approach to reproduction. What really seals the deal on the sunfish's uselessness is its parasite problem. These giants can host up to 40 different species of parasites at once, essentially serving as floating parasite hotels. Yes, that's really its name, and yes, it lives up to the billing. The bony-eared assfish holds the distinguished record of having the smallest brain-to-body ratio of any known vertebrate. We're talking about a fish whose brain is such a tiny speck that 98% of its skull is just fat. It's literally thick-headed. Living 2 to 4 kilometers deep in the ocean's basement, this pale, flabby creature drifts through life in a state of perpetual confusion. It's described by scientists as oblivious, not reacting to much of anything because there simply isn't enough brain matter to process what's happening around it. The assfish operates on pure reflex, probably not even recognizing when it's eating or being eaten. The bony-eared assfish is evolution's answer to the question, what's the absolute minimum amount of brain you need to technically still be alive? The answer is apparently whatever this fish is working with. Now we get to one of the most undignified lifestyles in the entire ocean. The pearlfish is a slender, eel-like creature that has decided the best way to survive is by living inside sea cucumber butts. That's not a joke. This fish literally waits for sea cucumbers to breathe water through their rear end, then slides right up into there. I mean, what the hell? I'm even making videos about first a fish that's name is assfish, and then a fish that literally lives in an ass. Once inside, the pearlfish makes itself comfortable by eating its host from the inside out. It'll munch on the sea cucumber's internal organs, including its reproductive parts, while using the poor creature as a mobile bunker. Multiple pearlfish will sometimes cram into the same unfortunate host. Scientists have found 5 or more of these freeloaders packed into a single sea cucumber like some nightmarish clown car. The sea cucumber gets absolutely nothing out of this arrangement except organ damage and eventual death. The pearlfish contributes nothing positive. It's not cleaning parasites or providing protection. It's just a cowardly little fish that found the most disgusting hiding spot possible and decided to make it home. The red-lipped batfish looks like someone put bright red lipstick on a deflated football and gave it fins. Those glamorous lips might win a marine beauty contest, but they can't save this fish from being a complete disaster in the water. The batfish has evolved into a creature that can barely swim at all. Instead, it walks on the seafloor using modified fins like crutches. Picture a grumpy fish with a perfectly round body teetering around on little leg fins, and you've got the batfish. When it tries to swim, it's painfully clumsy, essentially fluttering and then sinking like a deflated balloon. Its body shape and tiny fins make normal swimming impossible, so it's resorted to being the ocean's least graceful pedestrian. As an anglerfish, the batfish should have a glowing lure to attack prey, but even that's a failure. By adulthood, its fishing rod is just a tiny non-glowing stub, so it sits on the bottom in its bright red lipstick, hoping small crustaceans will wander close enough to its mouth. It can't chase anything, can't flee from threats, and lives in dim waters, where its fabulous makeup isn't even visible. Hagfish aren't technically fish. They're something much more primitive and infinitely more disgusting. These jawless, boneless creatures have remained virtually unchanged for 300 million years, which tells you something about their commitment to mediocrity. A hagfish's signature move when threatened is to produce massive quantities of slime. We're talking buckets of snot-like goo in seconds. While this slime defense is admittedly effective at choking predators, hagfish spend most of their time doing something even grosser: eating dead things from the inside out. They use their rasping tongue to bore into corpses and slowly devour them from within, sometimes while the victim is still weakly alive. They can also absorb nutrients through their skin by wallowing in rotting flesh. The real kicker is that hagfish produce so much slime they can suffocate themselves in it. Their solution? They tie their own body into a knot and slide it down their length to scrape off the excess slime. Yes, this creature literally flosses itself with its own body to avoid drowning in its own snot. Lump suckers look like someone inflated a ping pong ball, stuck tiny fins on it, and gave it googly eyes. These rotund little fish are absurdly cute and equally absurd at swimming. Their bodies are almost perfectly spherical, which creates the same hydrodynamic efficiency you'd expect from throwing a beach ball into a swimming pool. To make matters worse, lump suckers lack swim bladders, so they can't control their buoyancy. In open water, they flail helplessly and sink like colorful paperweights. Their solution to this mobility crisis is a suction cup on their belly. They stick to rocks and kelp like living refrigerator magnets and just hang there, hoping not to get dislodged. When lump suckers do get swept away by currents, they tumble through the water like confused party balloons. Their tiny fins flutter uselessly as they drift wherever the ocean decides to take them. Seahorses might be beloved for their unique appearance and romantic mating habits, but they're absolutely terrible at being fish. The dwarf seahorse holds the Guinness World Record as the slowest moving fish on the planet, with a top speed of about 5 feet per hour. To put that in perspective, you could outrun a seahorse while crawling on your hands and knees. Their upright posture might look cute, but it's hydrodynamically catastrophic. Seahorses swim by fluttering a tiny dorsal fin like a hummingbird wing, which provides about as much propulsion as you'd expect. They have no tail fin for swimming power, and spend most of their time clinging to seagrass with their prehensile tails, because if they let go, they'll be swept away like aquatic tumbleweeds. Even eating is a challenge for seahorses. They have to sneak up on tiny shrimp and slurp them up with their tube-like snouts. But since they move slower than continental drift, they rely entirely on patience and camouflage. Their digestive system is so simple they have to eat constantly just to survive, which is problematic when you're slower than most plants. The seahorse's famous male pregnancy, while adorable, doesn't actually improve their survival odds. The males carry hundreds of babies in their pouches and give live birth, but most of those babies get eaten immediately, because they're just as slow and defenseless as their parents. It's nature's way of saying, "Aw, how sweet," right before serving them up as fast food. If you want me to drag more of these aquatic train wrecks out of the depths and roast them for your entertainment, comment below for part 2.